Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Today, Wolfhunter DLC dropped and we get new patch notes. And with those new patch notes come new changes to the game, and some for the better, some for the worse. We'll get to those in a second. So as you guys can see, it says Welcome to Elder Scrolls Online Wolfhunter DLC pack. I'm not going to read out the number. Wolfhunter introduces two new 4-man dungeons, allowing you to venture into the hunting grounds of Hirsine, in addition to a host of new collectibles and item sets. You'll also find a number of updates to the base game, including new battlegrounds map and outfit styles, the addition of keep recall stones for Citadel, updates to the respec system, and more. And so there was a pretty substantial amount of changes in the PvP scene. Some in the PvE scene, we'll get to those as well, but we'll go ahead and go through this. So, new features, new dungeon DLC, awesome. 2 new dungeons, new collectibles and furnishings, 8 new item sets, base game changes, new battlegrounds map, the Istris Outpost, the Keep Recall Stones, battleground outfit styles, new PvP collectibles, respec system, which, by the way, this should have been in here sooner. Welcome our style items and the champion point increase. They also did several improvements and fixes, so the DLC game packs, chapters and stuff, combat and gameplay changes, base game changes, lots of them. And we'll go through each of these, starting with the 2 new dungeons. Now, I'm not going to go through all this. I'm just going to tell you the Moonhunter Keep is one of them. The other one is March of Sacrifice. And then both of these dungeons come with unique item sets, including 2 new Undaunted Monster Mask sets, only available within the dungeon. Unique achievements, awards for completing the dungeons. A unique player skin, a unique memento, several titles, and unique housing items. So new collectibles and furnishings, lots of stuff here. New trophies, new different things like that, of course. New item sets. So we got 8 new item sets with this update, just like with any update. That's a dungeon DLC. And some of them are pretty good. So we're going to start with the Moonhunter Keep sets, and the first one is Moonhunter. This is a light armor set, and the first one is spell damage. The first 2 pieces spell damage, 3 pieces spell damage, 4 pieces spell critical, and the 5 piece. When your alchemical poison fires, increase your spell damage by 600 for 6 seconds. So you have to be using a poison to make this give you the 600 spell damage. It's not too bad. It's not great either. Savage Werewolf is the medium armor for Moonhunter, and the 2-piece gives you max stam, the 3-piece weapon damage, the 4-piece stamina recovery, and then the 5-piece your light and heavy attacks rend flesh, causing your enemies to bleed for 1000 physical damage every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. So it just adds another bleed to your already existing bleeds, which is kind of nice. You can also beef this up with your CP, so it's not too bad of a set. I personally like it. A lot of people will say the stamina recovery isn't needed, and what's needed here is something like critical or, you know, something to that degree. Next is the heavy armor set, the Jailer's Tenacity, and the 2 pieces healing taken, 3 pieces max health, 4 pieces healing taken, and then the 5-piece, when you lose 7,000 or more health from a single attack, you gain major vitality for 6 seconds, increasing your healing received by 30%. Alright, good set to a degree if you're making a tank that plays off of healing. Like self-healing, self-sustainability, it's not bad. But if you drop below 7,000 health on your tank in one hit to get 30% healing received, it's kind of wishy-washy, we'll say that. Next is the Monster Mass, the first one, and it's called Vicosa. This is more of a tank type set, and the 1 piece is healing taken. The 2 pieces, when you bash an enemy you have taunted, you frighten them with a deafening howl, applying major maim to them for 3 seconds, lowering their damage done by 30%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So, in theory, it's a good set. In actuality, it's not that great because of the 15-second cooldown. If it didn't have a 15-second cooldown, this set would be pretty damn good. If it was more like a 6-second cooldown, So that means every 3 seconds, if you bash an enemy, you're going to be able to apply Major Maim to him. That would be more, I think, reasonable, but it doesn't work that way. So it's not that great of a set. March of Sacrifices is the next sets we're going to go through, and this is from the March of Sacrifices dungeons. Hanu's Compassion, this is the light armor set. This is more of a healer set. So 2 pieces Magic Recovery, 3 pieces Magic Max Magica, 4 piece is Magic Recovery, and it has 2 5-pieces, 5-piece parts. Max Magica, and then when you resurrect another player in combat, you and that player gain Major Heroism for 15 seconds, granting 3 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Alright, like I said, not a bad set, but how often are you going to be rezzing somebody, or should you be rezzing somebody in a dungeon? You shouldn't. So this, I would say, is more in line with like something PvP related, like Battlegrounds related, than it is more PvE related. It's not that it wouldn't work in PvE, it's just you shouldn't be rezzing that much. So Blood Moon is the next set. This is the medium armor set. This is a set I actually like because it reminds me of like Night Mother's Gaze or Hunting's Rage or Vipers. More Vipers than anything. So 2 piece is weapon damage, 3 piece is weapon critical, 4 piece is weapon critical. So that means you get 2 things of weapon critical, 1 thing of weapon damage. Like I said, very much like Vipers, very much like Hunting's Rage in a way. A lot like Night Mother's and the Kvetch's Gladiator sets. But this one, the 5-piece is what's different. And it's when you deal critical damage with a melee attack, you gain a stack of Blood Scent for 8 seconds. When you stack gain 5 stacks, you become frenzied for 5 seconds, increasing your melee light attack damage by 30% and attack speed by 50%. This effect can occur every 18 seconds. So again, another set that's good in theory, but because of the high cooldown of 18 seconds, you only get 5 seconds of uptime. So in theory, it would be better if it had a 10-second uptime, or an 8-second uptime, or even a 5-second uptime with an 8-second cooldown, or a 10-second cooldown. Then it makes it reasonable. With a 15 or an 18-second cooldown, it just doesn't make it worthwhile as well. It still works, but it's not. It's the timing that's really hard with this set, because you can't predict when you're going to get those 5 stacks, or set it to when you get those 5 stacks. So next is the heavy set, and this is Haven of Ursa. This gives you, on the 2-piece, max health, 3-piece healing taken, 5-piece max health, and the 5-piece, or the 4-piece is max health. The 5-piece isn't bad. So when you take damage while you're under 15% health, you summon Ursa Spirit for 6 seconds. You or an ally can activate a synergy on Ursa to grant you a shield that protects you and the activator for 13,954 damage for 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds. So, again, it's a good set, but because it's below 50% health, that shouldn't happen too often. Unless you're in a really difficult trial. Even in a hard mode dungeon, it shouldn't happen that often. So the synergy idea is good, but in theory, in theory it's good, but in sound and truth, it's not as effective as it looks. So it's a good set though. Next we have Bulwark. I think it's called Bulwark. The 1-piece is weapon damage and spell damage. So this is a really good boost your DPS kind of set when it comes to weapon and spell damage. It's a small increase, but it's still good. The 2-piece is when you use an ultimate ability, you gain weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds equal to twice the amount of total ultimate consumed. So it's not, like I said, it's not a bad set. This is going to be more PvP. A lot of people are going to use this for PvP more than PvE, but it's still a good set in PvE. I've used this set, tested this set. It's good either way. But like I said, a lot of people will see this more of a PvP set than they will PvE set. Moving on Base game change, new Battlegrounds map, Istra's Outpost. This is actually the first Battlegrounds map that allows you to ride, do mounted, ride a mount in it. So that's kind of cool that they have that. And it's an outpost, like a keep, that's in Cyrodiil. So it's kind of got that feeling of invading a keep, but with 4 people. Or 3 people on each team, or 4 people on each team. I forget how many you can have. It sounds good. I haven't messed with it yet. So, next change, big change, is keep recall stones. This is going to be awesome because one of the things I hated about playing Cyrodiil is the travel time. Just sucked. Now you have these keep recall stones, which allows you to transport to a keep that your faction owns, so you can teleport to it and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. Battleground outfit styles. They added some new outfit styles. Some of these are really cool. So we got the Pit Demon outfit style, the Stormlord's outfit style, the Fire Drake's outfit style, and these can all be earned. I think outfits of the you can. So you have a chance of earning them through completing Battlegrounds, I think. So victors have a much higher chance to obtain outfit styles than do second place finishers. And second place finishers have a much better chance than third place. So you can earn it while doing the Battleground. I think that's a really cool idea to add something like that. So, new PvP collectible. The next in the Gladiator costume is now available. That's cool. Now we're getting into the system respecs, or not system, character respecs, and this is awesome. The best thing that's been added to the game in a long time. When you used to respec, you could only respec, you could respec either all your skills or just the morphs. Now you can go in and adjust them singular. So now you can adjust your skill, like respec your skills individually. And it'll charge you individually, which I think is the best thing they've done ever. So this is really good. The Welkenar style items. So the Welkenar style items, Griffin Plumes, is now available in the Cloud Rush trial. This is good for those who like to do trials. This gives them a chance to earn those styles, and then also earn those style motives and sell them to players who don't do trials. So this is a really good trade-off. Champion points have been increased to a total of 780. So if you are above 780 or at 780 or higher, this is good for you. Those underneath that, keep working at it. You guys will get there. Don't worry. It just takes time. Some changes to Clockwork City, Dark Brotherhood. Nothing major. Dragon Bones. This actually was one that, right here. Fixed an issue where defeating Zan and Skullcaller Peak on Veteran Hard Mode would sometimes result in 2 Skullcaller motive chapters dropping. They fixed that. That to me was a good thing. I know a lot of people are like, well, I wanted to get all those things, but some Imperial City changes, some Orsinium change, and a lot of these are just minor fix things or improvements. This is the one that got me though. Somerset. Combat and gameplay. Healers. Now these are enemy healers. Will now use minor wound more often. That means they're going to use healing more often, which is going to be crazy. But it's good. It's really good. Oh, that's going to make that awesome. Excuse me, guys. A little runny nose. Fix some stuff with jewelry crafting. I'm not really sure what all they did here. I didn't read through the jewelry crafting stuff. They did add jewelry crafting materials to some blacksmithing resource nodes, which is kind of cool. They significantly reduce the amount of boosters needed to improve your quality of jewelry. This is the cool one. So it used to take you 8 chromium plates to go from purple to gold. Now it only takes you 4. So that is thank you. That is something that I think jewelry is not as extensive as armor crafting or weapons crafting, like when it comes to material use, and I think it should be lowered across the board. But this is a nice start. So We're going to skip through a lot of this. They fixed a lot of the quest stuff over there, too, in Somerset, which is good. Now we're going to get into the major changes in combat and gameplay. So, ability change overview. We made numerous changes in this latest update, some with global implications, while others are specific tweaks and quality of life changes. Some of our goals with these changes include improving the werewolf gameplay and quality of life. They did an amazing job fixing the werewolf. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was, I will say that. They reduced the duration of snare and defile effects. Yeah, not even going to say a word there. Increasing the viability of some older item sets. This is awesome. They did change some of them, which really does make some of the older sets more usable. They didn't go through and do a major overhaul to a lot of sets. They just fixed them. Alright, they increased the movement speed of all monsters summoned from their abilities and item sets by 25%. That's good. Visual effect now appears in your character's head when using detection, postage, melee, blah, 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 blah. Decrease the range of two-handed, dual-wield, one-handed, and shield, unarmed, and werewolf heavy attacks to 7 meters, down from 10 meters. So, this is going to make... This is one I don't understand, why they did this with two-handed. Two-handed should have longer reach than one-handed and dual-wield. Like one-handed shield and dual-wield. It should. It should be 10 meters. Sorry. That's my opinion. Fix an issue where casting certain self-target abilities, such as Spike Armor, Dark Exchange, or Imbue Weapon, would remove you from Sneak. Good. Enchantments, now remember the weapon for which they were fired. This means that if you fire a bow ability and weapon swap when your bow ability deals damage, the enchantment on your bow will fire. So, that's good. Teleport abilities such as Bolt Escape, Shadow Image can no longer be cast before the battleground matches has started. I don't know if that's a good fix or not. Moving on to class changes. So, starting with Dragonite, Ardent Flame, World in Ruin. This ability now increases the damage over time component of Fiery Breath and its morphs. Warmth. This ability only snares targets when they deal direct damage. With an Ardent Flame ability, was any type of damage. They decreased the duration of snares to 3 seconds for all ranks, previously 4. Draconic Powers, Reflective Scales. This ability now grants 2 seconds of immunity to snare and immobilization effects. 2 seconds just isn't a lot. But hey, whatever works. Nightblade, Assassination, Deathstroke. This ability now stuns if you have 120 ultimate or more. The visual show is readiness state. The icon will change to a recolored version, and the animation will of the cast will change. So, Grim Focus, Merciless Resolve. They removed the snare from this ability. Not even going to say anything about that. Aspects of Terrors. Decrease the duration of the snare from this ability to 2 seconds from 4 seconds. Shadow Cloak, Dark Cloak Morph. Fixing, yeah, it was removing you from Sneak. Siphoning, Crippled. Decrease the duration of the snare and the Major Expedition buff in this ability and this morphs to 4 seconds from 8 seconds. Basically, they nerfed anything that does Major Defile and Snare to almost nothing, almost uselessness. It's just ridiculous. Ruined Prison, they decreased the duration of the stun applied from this ability to 3.5 seconds from 5 seconds. This ability in its force now can now be dodged, by the way. Ruined Cage, they decreased the damage done from this ability by approximately 20%. And the ability now only deals damage if the stun lasts for its full duration. Storm Calling, Mage's Fury, fixed an issue where dodging this ability in its morphs would still apply the Execute Explosion debuff to you. Overload fixed an issue where the heavy attack from this ability in its morphs could not proc weapon enchantments or poisons. So that's fixed. Templar. Now this one I'm actually happy about. Dawn's Wraith ability, Radiant Destruction. They increased the maximum bonus execute damage dealt by this ability in its morphs to 480% from 330%. This is nice, but it's a channeled ability and it takes a while to channel. So it's good, but it's also not great. Solar Flare, Dark Flare, they decrease the duration of Major Defile, but debuff to 4 seconds from 6 seconds. Solar Barrage, they remove the cast time of this ability and decrease the damage done by approximately 40%. Not a good change, but hey, whatever. Sunfire, decrease the duration of the stare from this ability and its morphs to 3 seconds from 5 and 9 seconds. So, not even worth using. Healing Ritual, Ritual Rebirth. Fixed an issue where this could be dodge. You could dodge the secondary heal from this ability. I thought they fixed that last time, but who knows. Rune Focus. This ability and its morph now apply Major Ward, Major Resolve, and all morph effects to you directly for 20 seconds at rank 4. Standing in the area of effect now increases Major Ward, Major Resolve effects by 50%. This is the best change to Templars in this update. I am super happy with this. Developer comment says, new design of Rune Focus more closely matches the fast action comment while still preserving the original feel of an area of protection. Thank you. Warden. Animal Companion, Cliff Razor. Screaming Cliff Razor. They fixed an issue where casting this ability would not orient whatever your character to face the target. Now it does. Okay. Winter's Embrace. Arctic Wind. Increase the initial heal from this ability and its morphs to 15% of your max health from 12%. Thank you. That makes it one of my favorite heals on the Warden, by the way. Weapon changes. One-handed sword and shield power bash. Reverberating bash. Decrease the duration of Major Defile to 4 seconds from 10 seconds. Thank you for screwing up the skill. That's I just have to say it. This was by far one of the best skills to use against the Ice Heart Queen, or not the Ice Heart Queen, the Dire Frost Keep Witch, Ice Witch chick at the end. Now it sucks on her because you have to apply it, like you have to time this perfectly. But I mean, I still like the ability. Two-handed fixed an issue where the axe bleed would not stack with multiple players that used it. Good. Dual wield flying blade reduced the snare duration to 4 seconds. Lacerate fixed an issue. Heal based on damage dealt and other abilities. Blah blah blah. Twin slashes, rending slashes. Decrease the duration of the snare to 4 seconds from 9 seconds. Destruction Staff Impulse Pulsar fixed an issue where this ability was only applying minor mangle to one target. Bow Arrow Spray. They decreased the duration of the snare to 4 seconds from 6 seconds. Scatter Shot fixed an issue, where when roll dodging immediately after casting this ability or its morphs would prevent the enemy from getting crowd control immunity. Lethal Arrow. They decreased the duration of Major Defile to 4 seconds from 10 seconds. Lethal Arrow is just now a dot. Just consider it that. Changes to Vampire. Carrying Vampirism will now refund all skill points that are invested in the skill line. Drain Essence. They fixed an issue where this ability in S'mores would fail to cast if you used it against crowd control immune people. Now comes the big changes. So it says, there were significant number of changes made to Werewolf. This update, some of the changes were made to improve the quality of life, with leveling and maintaining the form, while others up new gameplay possibilities. First, you'll find the leveling and maintaining your werewolf is now considerably easier. The Devour passive is now granted automatically from the start, so you can sustain the form better at lower levels before you've unlocked all the other skills. We've also significantly reduced the experience requirements to morph all skills. Second, you'll be able to do more core combat actions as a werewolf, such as resurrecting your allies or using synergies. Werewolves will have a much easier time engaging in group content now that they can help their friends more effectively. This, coupled with some other changes such as the Blood Rage passive triggering on damage dealt instead of damage taken, means that you can be more viable in group PvE activities such as dungeons. You notice how they left trials out? Finally, many morphs and abilities were changed to improve the cohesiveness of the werewolf kit. Some combos and effects that were meant or weren't very effective have been removed, while others were tweaked for better, blah blah blah. So, werewolf transformation. You can now resurrect other players while transformed. You can now use synergy abilities while transformed. That's awesome. You can now use siege weapons while transformed. Your werewolf timer will no longer tick down while you are reviving in place while transformed. You updated the tooltip of this ability in Smorphs to better describe all additional effects of transforming. Fixed an issue where ranking up this ability in its Smorphs would transform you out of werewolf form. This ability in its Smorphs no longer increase your movement speed or your spell and physical resistance as baseline effects. These have been moved to a passive in the skill line. Alright, so starting with the first skill, Pack Leader. The direwolves now scale with the bonus from damage done. The direwolves now randomly alternate between 2 direct damage abilities, previously 4, and they no longer use non-damaging snare abilities. Fixed an issue where the direwolves would throttle their attacks against the same target. They now attack much more rapidly, and they fixed an issue where the direwolves would not respawn with you whenever you respawn. Blood Rage. This ability now increases the timer of your werewolf transformation when you deal damage rather than when you take damage. It adds 2 to 4 seconds to your timer with a 5-second cooldown. So, Devour. This is now a the first passive you unlock in the skill line as a free passive that does not require you to spend any points, and it's automatically. The points will automatically refunded. The Devour Corpse ability is now 4 seconds instead of a 4-second cast time. Every second you spend devouring a corpse increases your werewolf timer to restore health. Each corpse can be devoured up to 4 seconds. Updated the visual effects on enemy corpses that can be devoured. Improved the targeting and reliability of devouring corpses. Next is Hircine's Bounty. This ability in its force now heal based on your max health. Hircine's Bounty and Hircine's Rage heal 44% of your max health, while Hircine's Fortitude heal for 60% of your max health. This morph now grants Major Brutality for 20 seconds. So that's Hircine's Rage. Infectious Claw. They updated the visual effects for this ability in Smorphs. They didn't change it. Piercing Howl. This ability in its force no longer stun the target. Decrease the cost of this ability in its force to 3,100 or 510. Stamina from 4,050. Updated the visual effects of this ability in its morphs. Howl of Despair. The synergy now grants the ally Empower for all light attacks for 5 seconds. Previously, it granted 10% more light and heavy attack damage for 15 seconds. Pounce. This ability in its morphs no longer stun the target if they were already set off balance. Pursuit. This ability also increases movement speed by 15 and 30%. The bonus was moved to baseline effect of werewolf transformation to the passive Roar. Or to this passive, sorry. Roar. This ability and its force are now instant cast, previously 1 second. This ability and its force can now fear up to 6 targets, previously 3. The ability and the Rousing Roar morph no longer set enemies off balance. The 2 morphs, Ferocious Roar. This morph now sets feared targets off balance. Rousing Roar. This morph now has been renamed to Deafening Roar and now applies Major Fracture for 10 seconds to feared targets. That's actually, I like this. Savage Strength. This ability also increases your spell and physical resistance by 5 and 10,000. The bonus was moved from the baseline effect of werewolf transformation to the passive. All werewolf abilities now require less experience to morph. Yeah. Curing Lycanthrope, yeah, refund all skill points from the skill line. And fixed an issue where casting another ability while in the middle of werewolf heavy attack would cancel the heavy attack. Okay. Get it. Next up, guild changes. Fighters Guild, Silverbolts. Decrease the duration of the snare to 4 seconds from 6 seconds. The Silver Leash, they fixed an issue where this ability was not counting as a Fighters Guild ability for the Slayer passive. Thank you. I wish they would have been there when I was using it a lot more. Sigic Order, Imbue Weapon, they fixed an issue with this ability and it's more for removing you from sneak. They fixed an issue with the ability in its morphs not playing with their visual effects or audio if you were unarmed. And in Crushing Weapon, they fixed the issue where this would heal based on the damage done from the light attack and not from the Crushing Weapon itself. That's a good change, actually. I'm glad they did that one, because it shouldn't have been the light attacks. Min Wounds. So, fixed the issue where the light attack heal over time from this ability could cause health desinks. So, that's good. Undaunted. Trapping Web, Shadow Soak Morph. Fixed the issue where the Black Widow spiders were using a poison damage over time effect that was being mitigated by the target's spell resistance instead of physical resistance. Alright. So, Siege Shield, this ability in Force now reduce damage you take from siege attacks by 50%, originally 35%. And then the Champion System, Antronach, fixed an issue where this passive was setting enemies off balance while you dodge their attacks with dodge bonus such as major minor evasion instead of only from dodge roll. Yeah, Nightblade, sorry. That's fixed. That was Nightblade tanks. Some Nightblade tanks I knew of were taking advantage of this. The Lady Unchained, they fixed an issue where this passive was not functioning when used Break Free while transformed into a werewolf. So, itemization and item set changes. So, Siege Weapon damage will no longer proc item sets, which is good. Remove some of the visual effects from Shadow of the Red Mountain and Vulcan Scoria that displayed to your allies. And then item sets, Arms of Requiem, added a 1 second cooldown to how quickly you can generate the stacks of harmful wind on a target. It's not enough. It's still the most OP set for any DPS to have in PvE for trial running. And a lot of people are making it requirements for dungeons. Crest of Cyrodiil, this item set has been redesigned, and its old effect has been moved to Ward of Cyrodiil item sets. So the old Crest of Cyrodiil had weapon damage, max health, healing taken. When you deal melee damage, you apply minor defile to an enemy for 5 seconds, reducing their healing received by 30%. This effect can occur every 5 seconds. Now it has stamina recovery, max health, and after successfully blocking, you heal 8,000 health. This effect can occur every 5 seconds. If nobody knows, this is one of the sets they had in Somerset that was removed, I believe, from the trial, and they just changed it over to this. Defending Warrior, they fixed the issue where this item set could sometimes heal you based on damage dealt from other abilities happening at the same time. That's good. Dama House updated the telegraph visuals displayed to enemy players. Okay. Durox Bane, a 5-piece bonus was adjusted. So the old was when you take damage, you apply major defile to the attacker for 10 seconds, reducing their healing received, and, you know, whatever. It could happen every 1 second, so it was just constant. Now it's when you take damage, you apply major defile to the attacker for 4 seconds, and it has an 8-second cooldown. So that's a lot better for that set, no offense. And I like it a lot more. They finally fixed the issue with Elfbane was not applying its duration to damage over time to Grothdar. So this is awesome for those who like to use this set in PvP with Grothdar. Hagraven's Garden updated the telegraph visual displayed to enemy players. Hatchling Shell. This is awesome. I love this one. So it used to be physical resistance, spell resistance, healing taken, and then gain a damage shield that absorbs 5,000 damage every 15 seconds. The new and improved. Physical, spell resist, health. 5-piece. Gain a damage shield equal to 20% of your max health for 15 seconds every 15 seconds. That is awesome. That is awesome. And it's crazy because it's constant. I might actually be using this on the new Meridius Guardian. I don't know yet. I'm going to do some testing. I really want to do some testing. So, Hide of Morhius, whatever, fixed an issue where the damage from this item set could critically strike. Thank you. Idle arms, ideal arms of Requiem. They added a 1 second cooldown to generate stacks, like I said, with the other one. Jorvald's Guidance, they fixed an issue where this item set was not increasing the duration of minor expedition buff granted by the Hasty Prayer ability. So that's been fixed. And then the Light of Cyrodiil, the 5-piece bonus, has gained an additional effect. While casting or channeling ability, your damage taken is reduced by 15%. That was the old. The new is, while you're casting or channeling ability, your damage taken is reduced by 15%. When you are interrupted, your next magic ability will cost no magicka. So that's actually kind of a nice benefit to it. Robes of the Hist altered the 5-piece bonus from the set. The old was reduced the duration of disabling effects applied to you by 20% while affected by a disabling effect. Heal 2,000 health every 1 second. I don't like this change, by the way. While affected by disabling effect, immobilize, snare, whatever, you heal for 2,500 every 1 second. I don't like it because the 20% was fine. Now it's no matter what, but it's still nice. Not gonna lie. Slowed Semblance. For all you fans out there of Slodes and loved this set to be destroyed, you got it. A projectile will now fire when this item set procs, which applies the damage over time effect. The projectile can be dodged. They remove the first damage over time tick. The damage over time effect now begins dealing damage 1 second after it has been applied. Decrease the total damage by approximately 15% due to the removed tick. Fixed an issue where the damage over time from this item set was removing invisibility, and they fixed an issue where the damage over time could proc itself. So it's no longer a good. It was never a good set to begin with. It was an okay set. Now it's even worse. So you guys got what you wanted. Yay for you. My next one, this next one, is the one I've been super excited for. Swamp Raiders. 5-piece bonuses to been changed. So the older one was when you deal damage with a magic ability, you gain your poison and disease damage abilities gain an additional 450 weapon damage for 10 seconds. Now it adds 400 weapon damage to your poison and disease damage abilities, no matter what. So for DKs, this is actually really good on DKs because DKs, like a stamina DK will use poison or noxious breath in the poison strike thing. So this gives those 400 extra weapon damage. Then if you think about it, you're using like poison arrow, even a poison, you know, like a lot of poison things. This is actually really good now. This is a good set. So I'm happy about that. Tremor Scale, they decrease the duration of the snail to 3 seconds from 4, and then Words of Cyrodiil, or Ward of Cyrodiil, redesigned this item set. The old was stamina recovery, mount speed, max health, increase the amount of damage you could block by 8%. Now it's weapon damage, stamina recovery. When you deal melee damage, you apply. It's the same set as above. That was above. They just changed it to ward from the other one. Okay. Witchman's. Fixed an issue where the resources restored from this item set will not work with the ultimate ability you cast did not hit the target. So now it's gonna give you that back all the time. Wizard's Reposit. They changed the 5-piece bonus. When you take critical damage, you apply minor maim to the enemy for 15 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15 seconds. Now it's when you take critical damage, you apply minor maim to the enemy for 5 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15%. So they just reduced the timer. Zan, they decreased the range required to break the fiery tether to 8 meters from 10 meters. So anyone using Zans, you gotta be close. Item traits, Infused Weapon. They finally fixed this. This is a good fix. They fixed an issue where the cooldown reduction was being applied to both of your weapon enchants if you were dual wielding. So it gave you like a 60% cooldown. It was crazy. Base game improvements, some changes to the alliance stuff here. So delve bosses in Cyrodiil now spawn like other delve bosses in Tamriel. Finally, jeez. Players who queue for Cyrodiil will grouped will now independently into Cyrodiil on their own individual queue timers. That's good. Updated alchemy satchels acquired from conquest boards. Okay. Adjusted several guards in the whatever. Xandor will now spawn properly in the Red Ruby Cave. Healing medals in Team Deathmatch now contribute, and this is Battleground stuff. More scoring value. You can no longer cast Undo to get the starting locations. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Keeps now have 2 levels per resource material instead of 5. Resources now have 1 level of defense upgrade and 1 level for production upgrades. Resources will now go from 0 to 1 in about 10 minutes. Lots of changes here, and I think these are a lot of good changes, to be honest. So, and I'm not happy about this. The AP bonuses from Dark. Oh no, I'm happy about those. Those needed to be added. What irritates me about Cyrodiil is the only keeps that ever get fought over are the ones in the middle. Like the ones on the outskirt, nobody really cares about as much. They want those ones in the middle around the Imperial City. So it's just a constant fight around that circle area, and it gets boring. No offense, but it does. I wish they would do more to Cyrodiil to make it have there to be more purpose to it. So, but I still love Cyrodiil. Siege masters of Vevik and Shore have learned that their counterparts in the Sothasil and all siege weapons will be more effective against players in campaign-enabled campaigns. The damage effects from Scattershot, Oil Pot, and Meat Bag will now last 4.5 seconds instead of 8. Animation. Player transformed into werewolves will now animate properly. Okay. I don't think any of this is really big. Many citizens who were previously unsuspecting of thieves' ill intentions will now respond with suspicion when you approach. Many mementos have that preventing you from moving, now also preventing you from mounting while you are using them. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not worried about outfit stuff. Crown store and crown crate stuff, I'm not worried about. Dungeon and group content, you're now... Oh, this is the change, guys. You can now only select one role when queuing through the activity finder, and it will display next to your party frames. So, when you queue, if I see you personally as a DPS character, and I know you're a DPS character, trust me, it's not hard to tell, as a tank, I will kick you out of my group immediately. Because you are not a tank. I don't care if it's normal or veteran. This helps me out. I'm glad they did this. This is something that should have been in a long time ago. Dungeons, Blackheart Haven, yeah, whatever. City of Ash 2, Crypt of Hearts, changes. I mean, they're just fixes. Itemization things. Mud balls can no longer be thrown at players who are performing interactions. Thank you. Yeah, I like those changes, by the way, to the dungeon finder. I'm happy. And the same thing goes with fake healers. I'll kick you out too. I don't care anymore. You want to ruin my experience? I'll ruin yours. And I'm not trying to be rude, that's the truth. They did a lot of changes to the gamepad stuff. Some of it's good changes and fixes. Like, added the option to change color chat channels. Added the ability to immediately jump up and down to level down a level on the map. This is cool too. When attempting to mount while in combat, an alert will now display stating you cannot mount while in combat. Added an error message while trying to weapon swap as a werewolf or an overload's active state. But oh, notable changes, fixes. Yeah, oh, these are changes that they made prior to this, so they're just letting people know. That's cool. And I'll be honest, like a lot of these changes I'm not happy about, like the major file changes, the snare changes. I like using snares in Defile in both PvE and PvP. And it ruins the experience for some people when these kind of changes happen, because, oh, well, it's affecting our PvP and we want it to affect everyone. Like, oh. But yeah, I like a lot of the set changes to a degree. Like, I really like the Hatchling Cell change. I really like the Robes of the Hiss change. And I like the, especially Swamp Raider. I like those changes. I'm really happy for those changes. Durex Bane, not too much, but, I mean, I like that it's 4 seconds with an 8-second cooldown. I do like that, especially for PvP. And then this one, this is just, this should have been, like, that set should have been left alone. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the patch notes, guys. I hope you guys are having fun with the new patch. I'm gonna have fun with the new dungeons when I get it in, towards the end of the month. I can't get it now because, like, I mentioned this before, my kids' schooling, like, them going back to school, like, really affected, some things along with my vehicle, and a few other things that I needed to get fixed and taken care of before. But yeah, so I will be getting this, though, and I can't wait to get in the 2 new dungeons to play through them. But other than that, I'm not too, I'm just excited for that. I'm not really excited for any of the gear sets. I probably won't use them, to be honest. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for the patch notes, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.